Hello, I'm Alejandro Morales for Philly Gay Calendar. I'm here with actor, author, officer of the Order of the British Empire, uh,
Yes.
right, and star of After Louie, screening here at Q Flix, Alan Cumming.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm very well, Alejandro. Thank you.
How long have you been in Philadelphia?
For about 6 hours.
Oh my gosh, welcome.
Thank you.
Are you going out after the screening?
Everyone's asking me that, but I don't know where to go. I mean, I'm having a party at the hotel.
That sounds amazing.
Is it an after party, isn't there?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Alejandro, are you asking me on a date?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Let's
I'll come. I have some friends, but I'll come.
see how easy that was. All right, so let's talk about After Louie.
Mm.
You have some castmates, including Joey Arias and Justin Vivian Bond and Wilson Cruz. Have you encountered these people before in your travels, or did you just meet them?
No, I know all of them very well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So being on set with them, was it just very casual and fun, or?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, hi, Joey, how are you? And Via, she's been my neighbour in the East Village for years and years. So yeah, it's lovely. And Wilson, I love. Like Wilson and I once made out in a doorway in 1998.
In a doorway? Like,
Mm.
okay, was it an earthquake? Is that why you were under the doorway? Or was it a
No,
mistletoe situation?
no, it's just sort of. It was in my apartment doorway.
Okay, why the doorway?
It was cold in the street on 19th Street. I was like, come in and make out with me in my doorway, in my not a doorway, but like it was a door and then a door closed and then like hallway, I suppose you call it. Yeah,
That is romantic and very hot.
yeah, it was.
All right, speaking of romantic and very hot.
Talking about it. Oh my god.
Speaking of romantic and very hot, there are some super fun, intimate scenes in this film.
Yes.
For you, was that like old hat, or was it a little nerve wracking?
Um, it wasn't nerve wracking. Actually, Zach, who I did the sex with, we hadn't met before, but we got like obviously very early in our discussions about when we met was the fact we're going to have all this sex together. And I told him I'd Googled him naked, and he told me he'd Googled me naked. And so I think in those scenes you sometimes have to sort of to make it realistic and to make it fun, you have to really sort of, and also if you are kind of slightly into the part, I mean, if, they're not
Repulsive.
Hobbit, yeah, then it's not so bad. And so we kind of had fun with it. We really had fun because it's sort of if in the right situation it's really sexy. In the wrong situation, it's like verging on sexual assault. And in the middle situation, it's just like, how is your day at work?
Right.
So this was the best of how it could be.
That's really wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful here. So I'm sure that comes through in the screening. You're also receiving an award. I hope I'm not spoiling it for you. Did you?
What did you do?
It told me that you knew.
Of course. That's why I'm an award-winning actor. Did
There
you see
we-
that there?
Well, and so congratulations on that. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Really excited
I
to
just
see
realized
it.
This is my wrong side. You go over there, and I'll go over there.
Actually, this is my better side too.
What
That's
were we
really
thinking
smart.
then?
I don't even know.
Jesus, it's going to be me with my saggy chin over there. And what's your thing?
Oh, it's my face. All right, we just have to do the whole thing over. Okay, I'm just gonna do straight on. Well, I was looking at your filmography, of course, and I've seen many of your films.
Yeah.
You've also worked with people like Cher,
Yeah,
Christina Aguilera,
yeah.
in
Same
burlesque. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Parker Posey and
Yeah.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Several films.
Oh my gosh, and just so many just colorful characters. I mean, does anything stand out? Any really fun behind the scenes
Are you just basically
parties?
asking me to tell a funny story because you can't think of an interesting question?
Because I had to think about the sex in the movie. I had to think
Think of a
about
funny story. I can tell a funny sex story. How about
party.
that?
I'm into it.
So once I was in a film in Rome called Titus, directed by Julie Taymor.
Of course.
Sorry, I love of course, with Anthony Hopkins and Jessica Lange and me and some people. And Jessica Lange and I were like getting it on, and uh, we were totally both naked, and the camera started very low, and so we had to be both totally naked, and so they had a gauze between us, like a gauze, like literally a piece of gauze placed between our genitals.
Wow.
So I laid my genitals on top of a gauze that was on top of Jessica Lange's genitals, and then the camera did its thing, and Jessica and I having a great time, laughing, talking, naked on top of each other, just talking, chatting, and at one point they said, "I'm so sorry, but we can see the gauze," and we were both like, "What gauze?" "Oh, yes." And then they said, "We can see it sticking out," and we were like, they said, "Could we just like remove it?" And we were like, "I'm fine with it. Are you fine with it?" And she went, "Yes." So then we had to have the indignity of someone pull a piece of gauze that was between our gen. It was like,
So like a PA came in and
and
was it
pulled
was
it
a
out,
gauze handler for you.
pulled it out, and we were just like these two sort of like a kind of a sheep having a baby. Do you know when they kind of pull it out?
I've never seen a sheep have a baby. You seen a sheep
Yes, I
give
have.
live birth?
I've delivered a sheep's baby actually.
That's more interesting than the gauze story.
I've actually delivered. I've actually put my hand inside a sheep to help the sheep that was in distress and pulled the baby out.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't sweet at the time, but it ultimately was a sweet gesture. But I saved the sheep's life.
It was so there was like a breach.
I don't know what you call it, but like, it was in distress, and
Oh my
I think a
gosh.
breach means when it's the wrong way around.
Oh.
This one was just in distress. It was running around, and the head of the baby was out, and it was bobbing around. And so you knew that if I didn't know, but my dad told me that if you didn't get to the sheep in time, it was out of the sack, and so it wouldn't, or it was inside. I can't remember, but this baby was not sheep was not going to live. So we caught it, and because I had the smallest hand or arm, I had to reach up and pull the thing out
Wow.
because everyone else's hand was too big to get inside the
Were you
sheep's vagina.
comparing hands to see who had the
No, everyone,
smallest?
they were all adults, and
Ah,
so I was the only. I was the child, so I could get my hand inside a sheep's vagina.
wow. Did you have to get talked into that at all, or were you just ready to save a sheep?
I could when they were talking about it, I knew I was going to have to do it, and then when I knew it was my duty, I was like, sure, you know, what am I going to say? No, I'm not going to save this sheep's life.
Yeah,
No, I didn't say that. I'm a
that is
sheep
so touching.
savior
He saved a sheep.
and a lamb. So seriously, two sheep. I'm a sheep's savior.
Sheep savior. There's...
My God,
That tickles me. That's
drunk
so sweet.
news. But
So, have you been to Philadelphia before?
yes,
And did you party then?
the last time I did, I had such a fun time. I can't remember where I went. But I met all these hilarious people. Some very attractive young gentlemen.
Nice.
And the time before that, well, actually, that wasn't the last. That was the time. I think the last time I was here, I had to go back to New York straight away, my concert. But I made a film here a few years ago called Dare. Let's forget your microphone.
Okay, okay.
And what I'd like to do
What's up?
is to introduce the other people in the room.
Oh yeah.
May I?
Go for it. Yeah.
Vincent, would you come to the stage, please? Connor, would you come to the stage, please? This is Vincent Gaglio. How do you say it again?
Cagliostro.
Gagliostro. The second G is soft.
Soft.
Gagliostro.
Oui.
Uh, Vincent is the director of After Louie, which is the closing film of the Key Flicks Festival. How are you feeling about this evening? The journey of this movie, which is a very personal movie for you, and also the fact that we're coming out next week into the real world and everything. How is it all for you in an emotional way?
Yeah, emotionally, it's huge. This film started in my head about 10 years ago, and ended up as an installation project, and went through many drafts, and many years and change of life. I moved from New York to Paris because it was cheaper to live there.
Paris is cheaper than New York.
It's way cheaper to live there, and I just was intent on making this film any which way I can. And then about 4 years ago now, I met my co-writer Anthony Johnston, and it was just how I met Alan. and we wrote a script that Alan really liked. And we got together and we really made this film. And this is, right now, this moment that it's really public is really what I made the film for.
Yes.
It's not, it's.
I've noticed actually, just in this last week, so much about ACT UP and the whole AIDS movement has become, because of the film, has all been talked about in a sort of social media and media way, and it's very timely because of the whole way that PrEP is being made more expensive than it actually should be, and it seems like there's another sort of fight in the same vein happening right now.
Always the same, exactly. There was a moment, I remember I was sitting in Larry Kramer's apartment, and I was complaining about something, and he just looked at me and he said, "You need to wake up every morning of your every waking life knowing that we'll always be at zero. So we need to always fight." And he said he didn't mean, wasn't saying that there weren't advances, but it was just, that was what his motivation was every single morning. And here we're faced with so many issues with regards to, there is no AIDS research budget anymore worldwide. Millions of people are going to just die, and according to the New York Times. So,
well, it must be true.
So it must be true.
No, but that is true.
It is.
People
true.
are dying.
It is very much true.
So nothing's. I think. So to wrap this up,
yeah.
I think that for a lot of us, wealthy, arty, sort of, people who live in a bubble, we feel like AIDS has gone away, and in a way it has. We can have pills that will stop us getting it. We can have cocktails that will stop it being a problem for us. But bizarrely, it still exists. And the thing is, I think that we have to, like with Trump, we have to realize the bubble we're living in is true, but also we don't live in the real world, and we have to get our shit together and look at it all again. And before we go, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to Connor, my top international assistant. How has it been for you, Connor, back in your alma mater, Philadelphia?
Oh, it's been amazing. It's not my alma mater, but I love Philadelphia.
I thought this was your alma mater. Boston. I thought when we came here, because your brother lives here. So how is it like to be here in the city where your alma brother lives?
It's amazing. Love Philadelphia. Love the Kimmel Center. It's a great time.
Thank you, Connor. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I just talked once a little bit to Anthony Johnson, the co-writer and co-star of After Louie. How are you feeling, Anthony?
I feel so good. Yeah, I feel really good.
Tell us about your sweatshirt.
Oh, it says gender.
But it's got like G and ER, so basically it says end gender. See, it's one of those, what are those words called where it's one word but it has two words in it? It's like a palindrome. It's